name is Iannielli, and I'm a male to female transgender woman. I'm going to do a video where I'm pointing at the mirror. This is how I used to do my videos. I have been trying to put together many types of videos on YouTube to aim for the male to female transgender community, but it doesn't necessarily have to be restricted to male to female. If there are female to male transgenders, they're certainly welcome to view my videos as well. I look upon being transgender as a journey that both male and females embark on. Whether you're male to female or female to male, we're all sisters and brothers, and we are learning from each other with the experiences we share. I've been fortunate to meet many trans women and some trans men also, and I enjoy the relationships I've established. I think it's very healthy to develop meaningful friendships with other transgender individuals. We can always learn from others and their experiences, and I think it's very helpful. I used to be all alone, and I knew that it wasn't pleasant. I felt like I was trapped. I had nobody to turn to. I felt extremely depressed, and I was yearning to reach out to someone, and I couldn't tell anybody. I felt very isolated. I was afraid to tell my parents, obviously, or my sisters, and certainly my friends. I didn't really have anybody that I could really go to discuss my inner feelings and turmoil. So I had to kind of suck it up and just do the best I could living as a guy, even though I really wasn't comfortable. But I managed. I did what is expected of the male gender. I went to school. I concentrated on my studies. I excelled in sports. I was very academically oriented. I wanted to be technical in my education, so I geared my studies to math and science. And I also enjoyed playing baseball, and I was a runner too. I ran cross country in high school and track. So I did develop the skills in academic studies and sports, which helped me to live as a male. And though I struggled with my gender, I was able to blend in, and nobody knew of my struggles. I kept that all to myself, and I struggled with that secrecy, and it was hard for me, and I didn't do much to help myself. I kind of tried to just suppress my feelings and hide them. So I don't know. I don't believe what I did was healthy, but I really had no choice. It was either that or reveal my secret and face possible abandonment and rejection and all of those negative things associated with people who are identified as different. I didn't want to be looked upon as an odd person or hated or misunderstood. So I kind of just hid my inner feelings and didn't really tell anybody. And it wasn't an easy thing for me, because I really enjoyed expressing the feminine side, and I love to wear dresses and girls' clothes. I was drawn to that from the very beginning, and I was very happy. Not many people understand what it's like to be transgender, but I knew from an early age. I was 3 years old when I first started wearing girls' clothes, and I've never stopped. I've been dressing all my life, cross-dressing. I used to wear girls' clothes and women's clothes underneath my male attire, and nobody ever knew about it. Occasionally I would get a question regarding why I always wore a jacket and never took it off, even in the summertime. So I never really answered the question. I kind of shrugged it off, but the real reason was because I was afraid somebody would see the outline of my dress underneath my male clothing, and I couldn't have that happen. So it was quite a difficult time struggling with my gender and trying to live as normal a life as I possibly could. I tried with my hardest efforts to succumb to living as a male and just accepting it. I was depressed quite a bit, and I felt very alone and isolated. I never dated much. I didn't have many friends. I was a loner. If it wasn't for my studies and my sports participation, I don't know if I would be here today. So I am very fortunate that at least I had some of those things to keep me busy and out of trouble. I did struggle at times with thoughts of suicide and wanting to end my emotional pain. It wasn't easy for me, and not many people quite understood or would understand what it's like to be a male to female transgender. I've always known that I was drawn to girl things, and I always felt internally that I was a girl. So that was something that I knew right from the beginning. So I didn't think much about it other than to just try to come to terms with it. It was very difficult, and it took many, many years for me to finally accept my transgender. I was going on and off to a therapist to try to understand my struggles and communicate my feelings. That was really the only person that I felt comfortable with talking about it, but it took me some time to get to that level of comfort. And my intentions when I started seeking therapy was to help alleviate the emotional pain I felt when I lost my mom tragically. She was very young when she passed away. She was around 49, approaching 50, and I was devastated. And I started going to therapy a few years after that. And after going for many sessions, I started to open up about my early childhood and my desires to be a girl and dressing up. And, I really felt at that time that I wanted to come to a point of trying to accept and understand my transgender struggles. And I thought it was very important to seek out therapy. And I don't know if initially it worked to my advantage. The only positive thing that came out of the therapy was that I at least addressed my inner feelings and struggles, and most importantly, I was introduced to a young girl who I started to date through the introduction from my therapist, who she was seeking help from also. And we bonded and had a good relationship, but I never told her, and there are times I feel very guilty about that. But like I said, I was very afraid. I never really told anybody. In fact, the only one I did tell was the therapist. So it was very hard for me, and I felt very sad that I couldn't even tell my parents. But I felt in my heart that that would have hurt them, so I was trying to protect them and also protect myself because I didn't know how they would react. In fact, I didn't know how anybody would react if I was open about it, so I remained quiet and shy, and I never revealed my true innermost feelings to anybody. And when I think about it now, as I look back, I feel very sad in a way because I don't know. I think being transgender is a gift, and I know that many people think that uh, people who are transgender have some form of mental illness, which isn't true. If anything, transgender individuals have a medical issue, and it's been scientifically proven that gender identity uh, struggle can happen with the introduction of the hormones. The woman has in the birthing process, when a baby is in the process of being born, through the 9 months in the womb of the mother, they're exposed to hormone levels, and I believe that in the case of male to female transgender individuals, the incidence of higher estrogen levels in the hormone exposure could most likely contribute to the male baby identifying as a female. So I don't think it's all that hard to understand, and it's been stated many times by medical professionals that transgender people are born. They don't just all of a sudden decide to become the opposite gender. It's an internal struggle, and for most transgender people, they've known from early childhood on, and that's the case with me. I knew since I was 3 years old that I was a male, but I identified as a female, and I believe that it's okay to be that way. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I feel it's okay basically because I identify that way, and I don't see anything out of the ordinary being male to female transgender. I think that we should be accepted for who we are, and I think it's okay. You know, I never asked to be born this way, but I've come to accept who I am, and I'm actually much more happier. I am very happy for all the things I've accomplished in my life. I've, with the help of my parents, was able to attend and graduate college, eventually meet a girl and marry, and become a father. I have a son who's 16 now, who I love dearly. He's my pride and joy. He's on the autistic spectrum, so I quite understand the struggles he faces because I also face my own. So even though we have our different struggles, I know that his struggles are similar in many ways to mine because we both felt isolated. We both had many struggles in developing friendships. We had low self-esteem, and we were very insecure. So there is definitely parallels between being transgender and being autistic. And I am the first to encourage my son to be the best he can and to be there and support him. And he accepts me and I accept him, and that's the way it should be. We have a mutual feeling of love and respect, and I am very fortunate to have him in my life. I don't know what I would do if I wasn't married and had a son. I'm very happy. I believe it is a true gift for me, and that I was destined to become a father, and also destined to live as a female later in my life. I only started my transition about 2.5 years ago, when after facing the reality of a close friend dying in his early 40s and leaving behind a wife and a baby girl, I came to accept my own struggles, and I started to seek therapy because I realized life is very unpredictable, and I always wanted to live as a female, and I figured, I'm getting older and time is passing by quickly, so I may as well live to be happy, um, without sacrificing my family and the love I have for both my wife and son. I just wanted to be happy too, internally, and express myself externally the way I've always felt inside. And I don't see anything wrong with it. I think it's very satisfying to finally live to be the real me, and to identify and be proud of being male to female transgender. I think it's a beautiful gift. Not many people can understand what it's like to be transgender, but if they open their eyes and their hearts and their minds, and they allowed themselves to accept and embrace someone for that, I highly commend them, and I believe that in today's society, most younger transgender individuals, mostly children, are more fortunate nowadays, because there are more instances where the parents are becoming more accepting of their transgender children and are trying their best to understand them and provide them with the necessary help they need. That isn't true in all cases, like in the situation in Leila Alcorn's case, the young teenager transgender girl who was struggling with her gender identity from a very early age, and who wanted desperately to live as a girl, but her parents unfortunately did not accept her as a girl, and they tried desperately to get her therapy, where the therapist focused on changing her mind and accepting the fact that she was born a male and she should live as a male. And I think that's horrendous, and that kind of treatment should be abandoned altogether. There's no call for that. I think it's an outrage, and I am very sad about what happened to poor Leela. She had unfortunately succumbed to her gender dysphoria and depression by committing suicide. She wrote a suicide note on her Tumblr page, basically stating that she was going to end her life and her pain, and she was angry at her parents for not accepting her. And one day she took a stroll by the interstate, I guess near where she lived, and she walked into the path of a tractor-trailer truck and was struck and killed immediately. What a very sad, tragic story. And I don't know why that things happen like that. I don't understand why a family would not accept their child. You should accept your child unconditionally, and if they identify as transgender, you should embrace them and treat them with love, dignity and respect they deserve. They shouldn't be outcasts. They shouldn't be treated like they're crazy. They should be loved and accepted and treated with dignity and respect, and allowed to express their true feelings and their true gender identity. I think that a lot of people don't really understand what it's like to be transgender, and the pain associated with it. And they should realize that most transgender people have struggled from very early on in their life, and it's not something that they just find happens at older time. This is not something spontaneous. This is a long-standing feeling of not having the right body to match the mind, and it's very sad to realize that not many people accept transgender as a medical condition. They are blinded by their own ignorance, and I think that we as a society must come to terms with our ways of accepting people. We should never judge people. We should only try to understand and accept them for who they are. I identify as a girl. I've always have, and I was very afraid to come out. It basically took me a whole lifetime to finally come out to my family, my friends, and employers. And it was not an easy situation for me. I struggled. I lost 2 jobs in the process. I lost some friends along the way, but I made new friends also, and I am much happier now. I see a medical doctor, I see a psychiatrist, I see a therapist, and I'm currently seeking out a medical doctor, Marcy Bowers, for hopefully going forward with gender reassignment surgery. So I have a lot of changes going on in my life. I've been on female hormones now for about 2.5 years. I take estradiol and spironolactone, and I definitely can see the changes, and I am much happier now, and I can definitely look into the mirror and see a female looking back, and that's really all I ever wanted. I just wanted to be happy and match my internal feelings with my external. And now when I look in the mirror, I'm much happier. I can smile and express my female sensibilities and my female ways, and I am very much a female. I'm extremely feminine. I love everything that's feminine. Pink is my favorite color. If I had a choice, I would wear a dress every day for the rest of my life. I always struggled in my early days having to hide my true self, and wearing dresses underneath my suits was a terrible way to have to live. So now I shed the male clothing altogether, and now I only wear women's clothing, and dresses are my favorite, because when I was young and in my early adulthood, I couldn't wear dresses in public. So now I just am soaking it up, and I'm extremely happy, and I couldn't ask for more than that, and I have acceptance from my family. It took a while. My son accepted me immediately, and my 2 sisters have come to terms with my transgender struggle. My wife is still trying to come to terms with it. My mother-in-law accepts me for who I am, and I'm just trying to be myself. Bottom line is we're all living with the knowledge that we won't be here forever. So I believe that we all should find our inner happiness and do what makes us happy. And I just celebrated my 54th birthday on January 18th, which was Sunday, and I got a lot of well wishers from my friends on Facebook, and a lot of them are very positive with my transition, and they leave me kind comments and words of encouragement. So I am very flattered that many people do understand and accept me for who I am. And I've been in the hospital multiple occasions, and the police and paramedics have always treated me with respect and dignity, and I've never encountered a problem due to my transgender status. So I'm very fortunate in that regard, and even in the hospital I've been treated very well and with the same level of dignity and respect. So I really can't complain, and I have had no real negative experiences as a male to female transgender. If I were to look at my life now, I would say that I'm on the right path. I finally realized where I have to go, and I'm doing everything to live to be my true self. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think we all ideally want to be happy and be truthful to who we are as a person, and we want to share our lives as we feel with the people we love. And I think that transgender individuals should be loved and embraced and encouraged to be who they are. And whether they're children or adults, it doesn't matter. I think that we all are going through the same feelings, and I think for children, there are certainly they need to really think about where they are in their life and have heart-to-heart conversations with their parents and the doctors, because when you're young, you don't know if you're going to want to go through a transition. The reality is, if you transition at a young age, you may sacrifice any chance of having a rewarding life as a parent. I know there's always adoption possibilities, but to actually physically have a child, that would not be possible. But I do also believe that it's better for a young child who is transgender to be able to get the support they need, both emotionally and physically, be able to transition if that's what they feel is correct, what their parents feel is correct, and what the doctors say. I think that's quite important. And I'm just going to wrap up now. I can see my video camera counting down. I love you all. Bye.